See.
Spread a little love today.
Spread a little love my way. Spread a little something to remember. Spread a little joy.
Fresh milk and real cream. That's what makes Philadelphia.
So spread.
And that's what makes the moment we enjoy it a little richer. Real Belgian chocolate whipped with Philadelphia cream cheese. New indulgence. The moment just got a little sweeter.
It started long ago. The joy of giving something everything you've got. It takes passion, and it's not letting up anytime soon. At United Healthcare Insurance Company, we understand that commitment and always have. So does AARP, an organization serving the needs of Americans 50 and over for generations. So it's no surprise millions have chosen an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare supplement plans, they help cover some of the expenses Medicare doesn't pay and save you up to thousands in out-of-pocket costs. To find out more, request your free decision guide. Call or go online today. After all, when you're going the distance, it's nice to have the experience and commitment to go along with you. Keep dreaming. Keep doing. Go long.
This is Rudy. His morning starts with arthritis pain and 2 pills. Afternoon's overhaul starts with more pain, more pills. Triple checking hydraulics, the evening brings more pain, so back to more pills. Almost done when, hang on, Stan's doctor recommended Aleve. It can keep pain away all day with fewer pills than Tylenol. This is Rudy, who switched to Aleve and 2 pills for a day free of pain.
And try Aleve for relief from tough headaches.
Late today, President Obama gave a hard-hitting interview on Mitt Romney's shadow years at Bain Capital. The president called him out for taking no responsibility for Bain layoffs during the years when he was still listed as the company's CEO and president.
You know, Harry Truman said the buck stops with you. Now, my understanding is that Mr. Romney attested to the SEC multiple times that he was the chairman, CEO, and president of Bain Capital. And I think most Americans figure if you're the chairman, CEO, and president of a company, that you are responsible for what that company does. Ultimately, Mr. Romney, I think, is going to have to answer those questions because if he aspires to being president, one of the things you learn is you're ultimately responsible for the conduct of your operation.
We'll have Mitt Romney's response next.
Tonight on MSNBC, Chris at 7, Ed at 8, and Rachel at 9. Brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building.
Coming out here to Mount Rushmore reminds you that there are big issues at stake. Issues of equality, issues of freedom. And this place reminds you of that. That it's not just about petty arguments over tax and environmental regulations, but it's about what kind of country you want to live in.
Hey, Eddie. I brought your stuff.
You don't have to do
Yes,
this.
I do.
I want you to keep this.
It'd be weird. Take care.
You too.
So how did it go?
He's upset.
Spend less time at gas stations with best-in-class fuel economy. It's our most innovative Ultimate ever.
We now offer your family phone service as low as $1.70 a month with Magic Jack Plus. As low as $19.95 a year. $19.95 a year. No computer needed. Keep your old phone number. Start saving today. Available at Walmart.
Brave Knights, as you can clearly see from this attractive graph, our sales have increased by...
Sorry, my liege. Honestly.
Our sales have increased by 20%.
What is this mystical device I see before me?
It's an Ultrabook. He signed the purchase order.
With an Ultrabook, everything else seems old-fashioned. Introducing the ultra-sleek, ultra-responsive Ultrabook, a whole new class of computers powered by Intel.
You sprayed them. Thought they were dead.
Huh?
should have used Roundup. It kills weeds to the root so they don't come back. Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem.
Look. So your typical mortgage is 15 or 30 years, right? Who made that rule? What if you wanted an 8 or 12 or even a 28-year loan? At Quicken Loans, we came up with something better. A mortgage on your terms, the revolutionary Yorgage, with terms anywhere from 8 to 30 years. So say you have 8 years left on your mortgage. Instead of a 15, refinance with an 8-year fixed Yorgage. That could even lower your payments. Or instead of a 30, get a 28-year fixed Yorgage and pay off your loan faster. Call or go online now for a free rate quote. Today's rate is 2.875%, APR 3.5%. At Quicken Loans, we close many of our home loans in 30 days or less. And we're proud to announce for the second year in a row, J.D. Power & Associates ranked Quicken Loans highest in customer satisfaction in the nation. Call now for a free Yorgage rate quote or visit us online.
Mitt Romney has broken his silence about the controversy over his time at Bain Capital. How could he have left Bain and at the same time still be the boss at Bain? Facing a firestorm, the campaign hastily arranged interviews with 5 media outlets late today. Here's what he told NBC's Peter Alexander just minutes ago.
You said that you retired from Bain Capital in February of 1999, but there are SEC filings that list you as the chief executive, president, and managing director of Bain in 2000 and 2001. So if you were officially the boss in those years, why aren't you still responsible for Bain Capital's activities, including the outsourcing of jobs at that time?
In February of 1999, I left Bain Capital and left all management authority and responsibility for the firm. I had no ongoing activity or involvement in the affairs of Bain Capital because I went out to run the Olympics. And so in February of 99, I became the full-time chief executive officer of the Salt Lake Olympic Organizing Committee. And I had, after that time, no work whatsoever with the Bain Capital people, no responsibility or activity with the management of Bain Capital. And that's been documented. Every independent fact checker that's looked at it has said, yes, you're absolutely right. And the president's campaign has been, I think, outrageous in making the kind of charges they have. I think the kinds of attacks are beneath the dignity of the presidency. I think the president needs to rein in his campaign and start talking about the real issues people care about, which relate to our economy.
So I just want to clarify this then. After February of 1999, you never attended a single meeting for Bain, a business meeting, even by phone attending a meeting regarding Bain or Bain-controlled entities?
You've asked quite a few questions there, so let's go through. I didn't involve myself in any way with Bain Capital's enterprise after February of 1999.
Not participating in a single meeting, either in person or by phone?
I don't recall a single meeting or single participation in a investment decision by Bain or personnel decision. I left the firm. I was full-time running the Olympics in 2002 and in the years leading up to it.
We asked because the Salt Lake Tribune, it was in 2001 that you said, I've now decided that I'm officially separated from Bain Capital and I'm not going to go back. So the question is about that window of time, but you insist there was no involvement with the company at that period of time.
I had no management responsibility or activity within Bain Capital. Now, as an owner, I could have gone back, all right? You have the ownership potential. I could have gone back and taken over, but I didn't. I left and went on to run the Olympic Games. That's where I spent all my time, and the management of the firm was taken over by the 18 or so partners that were there.
Joining me now is Cynthia Tucker, Pulitzer Prize-winning syndicated columnist and now visiting professor of journalism at the University of Georgia. And back with us, David Bernstein, political reporter for the Boston Phoenix, who first broke this Bain story. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
David, Mr. Romney says he left Bain Capital in 1999. That's that. End of story, he says. What's your analysis?
Well, he now seems to be saying, yes, I did stay on technically as the owner and technically as the CEO and president and managing director, but I didn't have anything to do with anything. And he seems to be parsing his words very carefully about exactly what he had nothing to do with. He says he doesn't recall having any meetings by phone. People are going to have to judge this for themselves. It seems like he is at least admitting the fact that he was technically the guy who was in charge of the company for that period of time. And he hasn't, we know that he wasn't directly involved day to day. That there's no disputing that. The question is whether he had responsibility, whether he had any kind of activity back and forth. And right now, what we have is his word for it. And as you've discussed many times, and I've discussed with you before, sometimes his word is not 100% reliable. So people are going to have to look further into it. I think there's going to be specific questions about specific things that went on. Where he's going to have to answer specifically about, did you know about this? Could you have stopped this if you wanted to and chose to let it go, so forth?
Isn't that really the point? Did you know about the outsourcing? Did you know about the job layoffs? And could you have done something about it, and shouldn't you have looked into it? All of the other stuff, I think, is really immaterial. But let me ask you something, Cynthia. He said in this interview that we just saw at NBC that he had nothing to do with personnel, nothing to do with anything. Yet Romney said he left Bain '99. But back in that time, Salt Lake Herald Tribune reported in '99, quote, I'm reading from their story in '99, Romney said he will stay on as a part-timer with Bain, providing input on investment and key personnel decisions. But he will leave running the day-to-day operations to Bain's executive committee. So this report in '99 directly conflicts with what he just said.
Well, that's not the only time that there was a conflict. When he ran for governor of Massachusetts in order to establish residency, he also said that he came back for business meetings. What other business did he have? He remained the owner of Bain Company. Do you mean to tell me that as the sole owner, he left all the major decisions to somebody else? I have a hard time believing that.
Well, David, you've been covering Will and Mitt Romney for a long time. If he came back to Massachusetts for business meetings, what other business could he have had? He owned Bain Capital, was one of the owners. He said he came back. That helped him to establish residency to run. Was he lying then, or is he lying now?
Well, one of the things is that he's got so much business going on in so many different entities just within Bain, as well as any other investments that he might have had personally. It's hard to say. Plus, he did come back, for instance, to meet with David D'Alessandro to tell him, David D'Alessandro, the head of John Hancock, to say to him, as has been reported in the past, to say to him, I need you to re-up your Olympic sponsorship, because if I lose all these Olympic sponsors, my political career is going to be dead.
Would that kind of meeting have qualified as residency, though?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I know that he said at that time that he did come back for Staples meetings and others like that. We just don't know. He won't outline those. And
we're going to have to leave it there. We're out of time. But clearly, he's got a lot of explaining to explain. Cynthia Tucker, David Bernstein, thanks for your time tonight. Both of you have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. I'm Al Sharpton. Hardball starts right now.